SaaS is dead. Long live SaaS. Service as a software might be dead, and it's probably AI that killed it. And I really wanted to know if this business model is really out of the window. But for that, I needed to bring an expert to talk about it. And I invited Sergiy Korolov, who is the co founder of product studio Railsware, which happened also to be the parent company of our beloved Mailtrap. We had a great discussion trying to find out the answer to the one question: is SaaS really dead? Welcome to Subject Line Blank. My name is Marcus. Let's do this. Hello, Sergey, and welcome to Subject Line Blank. Man, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Hi, Marcus. Thank you for having me here.
And it's a very interesting topic because I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and it's not only there, but everybody is talking about SaaS is dead. And I know LinkedIn like to kill everything, but especially SaaS is something that is very relevant for me because that's what I do for a living. That's what you do for a living. So I want to
True.
really to find out, is SaaS dead, or why people are talking about SaaS being dead?
Yeah, right now there is a lot of hype, and there are ups and downs, and this is something that we observe for the last couple of years, right? Once AI topic became really hot. So one day the whole internet is screaming that AI will kind of change everything tomorrow, and then tomorrow everyone says no, it's not going to change everything, it's just a
Wait a minute.
bubble. It's a bubble, and it's going to be like wait for it, it's going to collapse, and then you observe for a month or 2 months is kind of this downtrend when everybody very skeptical. And it's not like everybody is skeptical, it's like it becomes popular to be skeptical. And those folks who collect likes and views on social medias, they talk about this because it's popular, it's trendy, talk about the collapse. But then next day,
You gotta squeeze that trend.
yeah, you need like to get maximum subscribers out of this trend. And then the next day some new version of model appears, like delivered by Claude or like OpenAI, and then everyone start to say, wow, no, that's the game changer, it like kill everything, like SaaS is dead, everything is dead. And yeah, I would say that I don't try to jump back and forth, like go follow those ups and downs. Although I cannot say that I didn't have some emotional ups and downs, but like sleepless nights. It's there are like different, like the changes on the market are huge, so there is no doubt. Positive or negative, it's just a question, but they're huge. But yeah, when I start to hear this like SaaS is dead, it like it start to trigger me just deeply inside. Not just because, like as you say, kind of we do SaaS products, and this is something that potentially can harm us. So it's not like a self-defensive position, but rather pragmatic. So when you run SaaS product, there is a lot of things. There are a lot of things that you should care about. It's not just coding. So why this at all appeared like SaaS is dead, right? So people start to wipe code something like smaller apps here and there. They start like users who would never be able to build anything themselves start to gain certain results, and those first results make them believe that if I am not kind of a professional software engineer and I can do such things, then as a software engineer I can build like things, huge products myself without a problem. So teams will not need SaaS products, they will need just a few engineers who will wipe code the whole infrastructure and the whole automation of the company, and it's gonna be like a paradise for
But
on the earth.
and that's where I wanted to go too, because when we hear about SaaS, right, like a software, it's all about the software. But I mean, you've been leading Railsware for many years, and you know that there's more than just software when we talk about SaaS, right? What do you think is something that AI just cannot cover, or in other words, how much software it is in a SaaS and how much everything else? Because it's not just software, right? There's a whole thing around it.
True, true, and this is actually was like a just uh, pre-story that I started with. That people who are not familiar how SaaS is kind of functioning as the machine, they mostly consider SaaS as a software, but they do not consider like the whole infrastructure behind this software. And infrastructure, I mean not only like servers, but also a lot of processes that are hidden behind the scene. So let's talk about Mailtrap, let's say, right? You need to build the whole infrastructure and a lot of algorithms and a lot of knowledge for the spam shield project. So we had in Mailtrap, right? So when you create an SMTP relay, then everybody in the internet, I mean those folks who are spammers, scammers, they see that, oh, there is a option to send email. I will try to squeeze this opportunity and send my spam through this hole, and they start to do it. And you need, as the leader of the product, to build the system, and it's not system of software only. It's a combination of processes, of people who are sitting kind of and managing those processes, a bunch of automations, a bunch of algorithms. So it's a really really complicated mechanism of people and software and automation and relationships with email service providers, which you need to build over the years, balance this system so you do not block some good users and you do not let bad users to send too much. So it's a very complicated thing, and it's just impossible to build anything like this on the knee within just few weeks of work and say that, okay, I have built like yet another Mailtrap within 2 weeks. I mean, you can write such post, but in fact you won't be able to reach such results. Also scalability, kind of when you will need some billions of emails to be sent, it's just not that easy. Kind of standard architectures do not work. You need some complicated solutions that needs to be implemented, and then those solutions needs to be maintained and improved. And this is something that AI may advise to someone who is knowledgeable, but just have like AI as a pair, as a teammate. So maybe like I try to explain this situation like in more in a longer way, but I want to give you an example like which I personally liked. So everyone can cook something on the kitchen, right? Kind of you can
All right.
I don't know, boil eggs and like fry some sausages, and you can put some pizza in microwave, but it doesn't make you a chef, right? It doesn't kill restaurant business at all. You have a car or you have a bike, you can go to to Chipotle or kind of Starbucks, buy this bicycle and buy a coffee or a pizza or like taco. You can buy it in the restaurant, but somehow you order it through the service like Uber Eats or DoorDash or kind of Glava, whatever. So you use service, which basically you can do yourself. Like, why? Because it's convenient. So you remove a lot of additional activity from yourself, kind of to buy some ingredients, to prepare a dish, then to clean the all those plates and forks and so on, like and cups. You just go to restaurant, you say that I'd like let's say pad thai or whatever, and you have pad thai in your plate and you don't care, like you pay for this, that's it.
Yeah, you get
But
it. Yeah.
yeah, but like you can open Google Maps in your city and search for restaurants, and you will see thousands of restaurants, right? They are not dead just because you're able to boil eggs on the kitchen. So that's the same situation with SaaS products. The regular company uses more than 100 plus different SaaS inside to run the operations. Kind of every department has 10 plus of SaaS applications that are used. Imagine that you need to build them yourself, but then you also need to support them, make sure that someone will wake up in the night and fix the problem if server goes down, and also someone needs to follow all those changes in the technological stack and update all those libraries and improve all those algorithms. I mean, this is crazy.
I don't think you can do that as a prompt that quickly.
Exactly. That's the problem. Kind of even if AI does a lot of good work, you still need somebody to operate it, to kind of integrate those systems together. So yeah, I that's why kind of I've decided to write even a post on LinkedIn, which became pretty popular, that SaaS is a king. It's still a king, even when you pay to Claude, it is a SaaS kind of, right. So
Exactly,
you,
right? I mean, you're
yeah,
still
to
asking
Claude,
someone to do it for you.
yeah, you pay your monthly bills for ability to use this software, and then you pay additional for tokens that you burn. So
Now,
that's SaaS.
and I mean, you do have experience. You met a lot of customers that you had over the years. I mean, not only with Mailtrap but with Railsware as well. Um, there is this idea, especially for the vibe coders, right? That you don't need the support behind. You just need the solution. But in your experience, is that really what companies need? Because we do have big names working with us, right? Like, it's just the solution. Do companies and customers think only about just solve my problem, or they really put value behind the support, behind the teams, behind the people that is building the software, or they just want it done? In your experience,
Yeah, of course. As I've said, that's SaaS is much more complicated mechanism than just a software, and kind of you as a company, you need to have a trust in someone, right? So, let's say when you sit into the, so you buy a ticket for the flight to, let's say, San Francisco, you want to have a trust into the company that you buy a ticket from, right? You understand that there are some processes behind and regulations that make sure that the pilot is not a random person who is sitting there and who will not fly your airplane into the mountain because he doesn't know how to manage the situation. So that, and to build the whole system, it's a complicated thing. But for you, it's you just sit into the airplane and you fly it. So it's that simple, right? Kind of the services with help of SaaS, they brought our activities, our churns to a completely different level. So we're able to manage many things simpler in our devices with help of our phones and even watches. And this is because kind of thousands and thousands of people do their daily routines, kind of building those SaaS applications, support them, improve them, closing security holes when they appear. So all those things are important, which kind of it's impossible to reproduce. Kind of when you decide to build 100 plus SaaS applications within your kind of processes in the company, so to cover your processes in the company, so that's crazy. And yeah, think about legislation. So imagine you have QuickBooks, or you have Xero, or some Xero, or some other tool which requires constant updates when the legislation is going to change. So who will follow those or not even like any application like GDPR appears, or kind of some Californian laws regarding the privacy of data. Who
Yeah, those
will
things change it all the time, right?
Yeah, they're changing constantly. So like every year something happens. So in France they recently uh, introduced the new law of that helps consumers to hide their IP addresses, kind of, and make sure that the IP address is not being exposed until they confirm it. So many things are changing, and somebody should support it. Somebody should follow those specific regulations for the specific country, for the specific type of service. Like it's crazy. It's just impossible. And I'd like to tell you like my personal story about my experiments with vibe coding.
All
So
right.
yeah, and this is kind of,
Well, I
I
mean, you,
guess.
you you do have a background, right? Like you have the
Yeah,
knowledge because right now everybody can be a vibe coding. I mean, it's
yeah,
just.
yeah.
But
True.
yeah, yeah. Please go ahead, man. Go ahead. Like, how is it going with that?
Yeah, this is like a separate story from the story I've mentioned before. It's like a different perspective. What I want to highlight. So I'm engineer myself. I'm 43 right now, but I was in software development since 14. So for quite and I played so many different roles. So I was engineering, then I was product managing, and setting up companies and products, and kind of this is something that I do on the daily basis. For last couple of years, not couple, but just decent amount of years, I do not program myself like a production ready solutions. I do experiments and stuff like that, but something that we deliver in Railsware, it is developed by professional software engineers, product managers. So those guys are doing a great job. But I definitely follow the trends and I experiment myself on the background so I can have better knowledge and understanding of the direction where I should drive the company. And vibe coding is a thing that appeared, and of course you cannot just miss it, right? So you start to pay attention on it more and more hype about it. And so it was 2025 summer, I guess, when I tried to vibe code something myself. And it was like a pretty simple web application, and it sucked. Like it was impossible to build anything reasonable. While uh, YouTube promised you that you're already able to build Calendly within 15 minutes back then in
I heard that a few
2025.
times.
Yeah, it's such a weird declaration. But anyway, so I tried, it didn't work out. All right, so I let go and monitor situation. Like I was constantly communicating with engineers how they use AI, and they used AI heavily, but it was not vibe coding. So it was like a prompt coding. Let's say they were in the process of development, but then instead of writing tests themselves, they were asking already AI to write those tests, and then they were following the logic of those tests, kind of changing things if there are needed, if changes are needed, and so on. So AI was already heavily in the development process, but on the vibe coding level, it sucked. So people who claimed like that they've built an application with Lovable, usually it was like a one-pager website, which you were able to have with WordPress or Wix or any other tool within few seconds, and those applications would actually websites would be much more stable on those. But it wasn't cool because it was old school. Like new school, you vibe code everything yourself. Yeah, but that story was 2025 mid of year. But then uh, I guess in the autumn 2025, I tried to build first CLI for Mailtrap. It's a console interface for Mailtrap, so you can query and ask Mailtrap to do some work through the console, through the terminal. And I was pretty surprised that so from the engineering standpoint, it's pretty simple work. So you have documentation, you have API endpoints, and then you need to write a wrapper around those endpoints, kind of that's make this application work and execute execute certain commands. So it was pretty easy, but in fact it was able to build this CLI which worked, and it was written in Go, and I didn't have any experience with Go. It was easy for me to read through the details because like I came from C and C++ background, so Go was not a problem to read and understand that the code is clean and nice, and there were some bugs, and we kind of together with AI were able to fix it, but I haven't touched any code myself, so I was fixing those problems, explaining AI that there are some problems. So anyway, it required me to be an engineer to explain those things, but that's fine. That's something that I've built that way. And then I tried to build something with UX, and I wasn't able to achieve result. Then there was some pause, and when Opus 4.6 and 4.7 appeared on the market, my partner Yaroslav came to me and showed me the app he did, like a it was a task management tool. He was able to hack within a weekend, and I was pretty surprised because I was not able to achieve before, like my experiments, such precise application. So I did experiments myself, and I was kind of like that actually the period when I had sleepless nights, because it was really shocking for me that I was able to build an application. So I started with the simple application, again with the CLI, but kind of built a new version of it. Then I decided to build like a desktop application with for Mailtrap, just an experiment. That product never appeared on the market. I mean, this application never appeared on the market because it didn't make a lot of sense, but it was my experiment. So what can I achieve? Will I be able to build an application which works on both like Mac, Windows, Linux, and I actually was able to do that without writing a line of code. So it was like an application, you put your token, kind of you see your emails that has been sent, you see your statistics and so on. So it was pretty impressive.
But
Yeah.
sorry, sorry to interrupt the story for a second,
Sorry.
but that's because you know what you're doing, right? Which it goes back to your when you were talking about like you can cook, but you're not a chef. I mean, there is a knowledge that you have in how things work that you were able to
True.
apply to AI, right?
True. And later on, when I've built already some experimental things, more complicated. So just to make long story short, I've built a pet project which is just had absolutely nothing to Railsware activity or Mailtrap. I was just purchasing a car, and I wanted to have like a better comparison of the cars, and so kind of just vibe coding helped me to build a pretty decent tool for choosing a car from like Mobile D website. And so I was able to build it without writing a line of code. But you are completely right that I faced a bunch of problems during the development of this tool, and I've built it through few weekends. I faced a bunch of kind of questions that I needed to decide, like about technology stack that I need to choose. Then there was a question about optimization of requests to OpenAI API, because there were huge delays, and it was just you were sitting and waiting for minutes when AI will process the data from the website. So I've built a bunch of optimizations. I parallelized the processes and kind of optimize the many things, because I knew as a software engineer how it works under the hood. And later it helped me, of course, to set up the server, kind of set up the domain, connect everything, launch it as an application. And so but happiness from my side was that I was able to build pretty decent tool without writing a line of code.
The actual code.
Yeah, actual code. And it works. I mean, it works not only for me. It kind of, you can, if you want to buy a car on mobile.de, you can go there and kind of create those collections and so on. So you can play around with it. It's not something, that I consider it some for commercialization, but it was an interesting task for me. If I,
You
as a
build
product
something that
owner,
works.
yeah, I mean, do I need a software engineer right now to accomplish this task? And at that level of AI, and at that level of my understanding of software development, this combination is enough to build this type of tool, kind of. But it's still relatively simple. When I tried to build a feature inside Mailtrap, I failed to wipe code it. So, because that was my next step experiment. All right, am I able to build a feature, like a decent feature, not just a fixing button or something, but introduce some decent feature into Mailtrap uh, with wipe coding without help of engineers? And quick answer is like it was a complete fail. So I was able
Good,
to
good for
achieve.
the engineers though.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, so because you need to understand where are the limits and what can you achieve. And my kind of summary of what I've, after multiple of those experiments for last I would say 5 months, yeah, I did all those different experiments myself, and of course communicating with team members like their experiments. So I've came to the conclusion that for prototyping, for building MVP, it's a fantastic tool that you are able to, have a really small team. You don't even need some engineers at certain period of time, like being a software product manager or product designer. You are able to wipe code something and actually bring this something to the market to validate the idea. But when you need to grow it further, when you need to build kind of more complicated solution, when you need to move, like to push it, then it's absolutely, at least from my perspective, impossible just to stick to the concept of vibe coding. You basically getting back to the processes that we have in software development before AI era, where you create a code, there are pull requests, there are team members who review those pull requests, accept them, and kind of, and by this they continue keep quality of the software. They write tests, but AI tool in this perspective, it became like it's already prompt coding. It's not vibe coding, but prompt coding. So AI helps a lot engineers to remove those routines, but they are not operating on the high level like create me this feature. No, they are consulting with it, explaining what type of feature they want to build. They consult with kind of with AI to decide architectural things, and when they implement, they slice those big plans into the smaller tasks. They deliver those tasks with AI, but then they review it with their own eyes and understand what actually is done, and if this piece of software can be committed and pushed to to the main branch, to the major branch, the main branch, and become a production ready solution. So
Now, there's one thing that you mentioned though. Throughout your story, you tested it and like sort of half 2025. Later in the 2025, you've been testing more in 2026. Have you seen a significant advance? Like for example, you mentioned Opus 4.7. Have you seen an advance that is saying, okay, for now, vibe coding can get you here, but very soon it will get you here very fast. Like, how do you see the speed of development for AI at the moment?
that's I guess the most like the trickiest question, because you never know what will appear in the next day. So that's that's what I've uh, that's why I've compared what happened in 2025 and then what happened in the end of 2025. So you start observe the abilities of AI, it does something, you understand that there are a lot of problems, and then next day you see the new version that solves a lot of problems, and then next day you see the version that solves more problems. And there was like a huge spike, as I said, between those beginning of 2025 and the end of 2025. It was just significant boost. So as I've mentioned, like not able to build anything reasonable to ability to build a reasonable software without any line of code. Yeah, but what happened next, I personally don't know, and I don't want to, predict. I may say something right now, and when you will render this video, it will
It'll be
become
completely
invalid. It will become invalid. So I guess only guys in those big companies like Anthropic and OpenAI and Google, they may know potentially where it leads. But I had a conversation with the guy who works in Google, so they're in absolutely similar situation like the other engineers. So they use inside the same models as they share to the outside. So there are no secret models that they keep there. So the latest thing goes outside, so goes public, and they're searching for those limits. And I like the rule they had that if you cannot resolve something with AI, try to resolve it with AI. So meaning that without trying to, okay, AI doesn't work, I will write it myself. No, they actually try to find the limits of AI themselves. So that's why they try to change the mindset of engineers. So they, for them, it's also like a journey, experimental journey right now. And what will happen? So we all heard about this Mythos, right? The model
Yep.
by Anthropic, and that it shows some significant result, but I haven't had a chance to test it. Kind of, then I don't know what will be the results. Maybe it will fix the problem of because wipe coded code right now far from being great. Let's be clear. So sometime, and this is something what happened during my experiments. I've built a certain app, and I came to engineers. They open it, and we looked through together. There were good places, but there were a lot of crap. And then when you try to fix this code by guiding AI without changing code yourself, it sometimes introduce even more crap. It's like it went the wrong way, and then instead of getting back and start to build new route, it just
Just keep
tried
getting
to,
worse.
yeah, it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And then maybe if they will resolve this problem, then we will have new chapter when you will have just even more possibility to build something yourself. But it will not eliminate kind of this. It's like a Tesla self-driving, right? So it's fantastic. Like I've been recently to Los Angeles, and I was driving with Yaroslav, my friend
The
and
self-driving?
partner. Yeah, yeah. So self-driving, like
Cool.
we were driving the full day on self-driving, and I was totally impressed. Like it drives you like a ideal driver who understands that, all right, there is a car on the left which is speeding, and then you need to pause, but not pause like you shouldn't stop fully, but you need to just reduce the speed, and then when it goes by you, you just get into the lane and speed up as well. So it does really predictable moves, and I loved it a lot how it drives. But what I wanted to say that legally, if this car will kill the person, you will go to jail. So legally, the driver is responsible for everything that self-driving car will do, and this legislation is works this way. In software, it's more or less similar situation. Like in the end, if there is no person who understands what code has been shipped to production and what are the consequences, then it's a problem. So person and responsible who put his or her, like, stamp that, all right, I put thumb up. This is software that I reviewed. I understand what it does. It is ready to go to production. So that's a key element still in the chain of the software development.
And based on your experience, like you've been playing around with AI a lot. How much influence do you think AI is going to have in the future for SaaS? How many more areas AI is going to get in there? Because I totally agree with you, and I think we mentioned it before. I mean, AI is great as a companion, is great as a tool. But do you think eventually we'll get more than that? We'll lead, we'll create, like unassisted. Like, how do you see AI specifically taking over certain things in SaaS?
Well, this is what we observe, right? It's not about software only. So, speaking about the software, you have this quick possibility to validate, which is great. So, different prototyping designers should not spend too much time in Figma, but they can just do upgrades on the real product, but in a separate branch, and then they just can kill this branch afterwards after they present the feature to the team. So that's very useful. If we talk about marketing part, there are a lot of automations that you can build, and this is something we do across the board in different products, which help like competitors analysis, uh, introducing kind of different approaches how to create content. We still do not kind of follow trend that sometimes hackers, growth hackers show on LinkedIn that you can generate everything with AI. I've built an automation that kind of creates everything themselves, like everything by AI, nothing by a person.
Yeah,
So
but then they try to sell you the course. That's it.
yeah, that they try to sell in the course. So we of course we use AI for creating content, but behind this content there is a person who understands the value, the story, who collect this data, and then with the help of AI, like he or she shapes the article or the page itself. So this is something that, but definitely that's a powerful tool. Will AI be able to analyze everything later on and create a website for you fully? In theory, yes. Kind of it already can do this, but if everyone uses the same approach, like who will win? Like there always should be some secret sauce, right?
And that's
And
exactly what I wanted to ask you on that.
mhm.
Um, where we can all access software creation, right? Everybody will be able to create the software that they have in their mind. But in your experience, dealing with real customers, real people, real life examples, what do you think will make the difference? What do you think is the thing that's going to keep SaaS alive? The secret sauce. What do you think is that secret sauce?
Like we already can we already can notice that people start to like emails with mistakes, kind of posts with mistakes, because they feel that there is a person behind who actually written that, and people already train their brains to see if this is even written by Claude or by ChatGPT. So those patterns, and I guess in the nearest future, kind of the game changer will be how human your service is, like how many human communication you receive through this kind of through the use of this service. Like if it's gonna be only the chat bot which will reply to you in support, or it's a real person who will write to you even with mistakes. So I guess this balance of using AI and human touch is gonna be the secret sauce. Yeah, that's a and brand, of course, and brand won't be. I mean, So when you deliver something right now on the market, it's very complicated to build a brand. So still, the old brands they have values. Of course, sometimes they fail, but if they follow the trends and they're able to adopt this powerful powerful inertia that big brands have, they're able to use it and still be kind of on the top of the market. So it's great that you build the software, but what happens next? Kind of, all right, who will know about this software? How you will reach your audience? How will you sell them the idea? How will you collect the feedback? So all those questions start to appear, and it's not going to be a problem to build some simple software, but it's going to be a problem to deliver it to the community so community understand it and started to use it. So that's a challenge.
And I think especially like what you mentioned before too is the trust, and the people gets to trust humans, and when they feel that the humans behind, it makes a big difference. Sergey, I have one final question for you, which is, we started with the idea of SaaS is dead. Do you think, hand in your heart, that AI is going to kill the SaaS model eventually?
No, it's complicated question.
It is, because I'm scared too.
No, I don't believe that it's gonna replace SaaS by the reasons I've mentioned before.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so far I don't see this thing that is coming. So
Good.
yeah, that's long story short. There are gonna be new brands, new applications that will grow from this movement. There potentially some, I don't know, like 10 tools might be replaced with one tool. So it's not like SaaS as a concept won't be dead, but some SaaS applications gonna be dead for sure. Like even if you think right now about those tools which allowed you to create your own website, like Wix or like Square, I don't remember what it was, like Square something. So like right now you go to Lovable, let's say, and you create your web page pretty quickly. So just by saying to it something, and it's cheap and it's no problem. So I know that those folks, they start to lose traction, of course, because there are alternatives. But that's everywhere. That's always happened. Like when there is a change in the technology, the new opportunity appear, kind of the new brands pop up on the market, and they start to grow. But SaaS as a concept, I don't believe it's gonna die.
That's good to hear. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Probably a lot of people around. Sergey, well, thank you so much for your time. It's been a very cool conversation. Is there anything else you want to cover, or anything else you want to mention?
No. I would just recommend everyone. Doesn't matter what you do. If you're a marketing person, content person, you support team member, sales guy, try to go and vibe code something. It's just refreshing. I mean, like, you don't really need to be a software engineer, at least to see some powerful elements, and just don't block yourself. Go and try to vibe code something. It's gonna influence your understanding, kind of how software is created.
That's a good advice. I'm doing it. I'm actually building my app. I'm gonna bring it to Railsware later one of these days. Sergey,
Great.
thank you so much for everything. For you guys watching, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions or anything that we can cover after, make sure you drop it in the comments. And remember to come back, subscribe, put the notification button. And if you want to know more about email marketing, tech news, come back to Subject Line Blank. My name is Marcus. Thank you, Sergey, again. And we'll see
Thank you, Marcus.
again. Take care, brother.
Thank you. Bye.